what I found as a consultant was I needed to break up my time into two different things. Okay, one was creator mode, and the other was conductor mode. So creator mode is when I was actually in my hard thinking, deep work, doing development work. As I was a consultant, I was doing custom software development. So, but whether you're doing development, graphic design, copywriting, whatever it is that you're doing as a consultant, you actually have the work to do. You have to provide the deliverables that your clients have paid you for, right? So that is creator work. And that has to be focused work. And it's very difficult to do quality work when you're interrupted a lot, okay? So if you kind of have this open door policy, your clients can call you whenever, and you drop what you're doing to go answer the phone to help them out, then you're not being very efficient in your creator mode. So what I suggest is you block off time for your meetings on specific days. And even if you have to meet with a client more often than typical, so let's say you try to meet with your clients once every 2 weeks. By default, that's kind of what you meet every 2 weeks. But then they can kind of call you in between those 2 weeks if they need to. What I will do is actually set up a weekly meeting. Or if you already have a weekly meeting and they still bug you during that time, then you need to set up a bi-weekly meeting twice, 2 days a week. These are the days that I'm available to talk to you, client. Because the other days, I have to actually get the work done. So creator mode, getting the work done. Conductor mode, running your business from the standpoint of having the meetings you need to have, whether you have contractors you're doing stuff with, whether you have a VA you're communicating with, or even other members of your team. And then obviously with your clients, right? Showing them the progress you're making, getting feedback, things of that nature. And of course, talking to prospects, trying to bring them into clients so you continue to have business down the road. Okay? But if you sacrifice your creator time, then you're going to lose a whole lot of momentum. And so it's very important to protect that creator time as best as possible, and then batch your conductor time all together. So, and what I typically do is I figure out when I have the most energy versus when I have the least amount of energy. And for me, my most energetic stuff is in the mornings. I'm able to focus a lot, get a lot of stuff done there. And then the afternoons, my energy kind of depletes a little bit, and that's when I have my meetings. So I'll start my meetings at 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 2 p.m. I try not to have any meetings before 2 p.m. so I can actually get things done. Okay? Sometimes you have to, and that's okay. But the key is to actually have it predetermined what you're going to do. Predetermine what it is, what your schedule is going to be. Block out time, let your team know, your VA know, your clients know, I'm unavailable other than dire emergencies. I'm unavailable between this time and this time because I'm actually working on fulfilling what I've told you I was going to do. Right? And this is actually extremely beneficial even for those that aren't consultants and are just in the regular workforce. Managers and people who meet a lot, they think it's productive to meet because that's when things get done in their minds. They're having conversations with people and they figure out what needs to be done and they communicate to the right people and they get, tasks assigned and things of that nature. But the people actually doing the work, meetings are important to convey the information, to let them know, okay, this is what we need to get done. So that's beneficial. Sometimes that can just be done in an email. But that's going to be beneficial. But when they're spread out in the middle of the day or whatever else, it can really make it so you are very non-productive that day. So especially as a developer, I know it's true in other areas too. So again, whether you're doing copywriting, doing graphic design, or whatever, if you are actually interrupted in what you're doing in the middle of the day, or I can't really get into this flow and do what I need to do here, I have a meeting in half an hour, well, I'm just going to browse social media for half an hour anyway, or whatever. and you're not productive. So that 1 hour meeting now costs you half an hour beforehand, and then maybe you have a half an hour after the meeting before lunch. So you can't really do anything. That half an hour, you go off to lunch, you come back, and then now you're on the second part of the day where maybe you don't have as much energy as you did the first part. So that one meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning just totally messed up the vast majority of your day, where maybe you only got like an hour and a half worth of real good work done from a creator perspective. And that's just where you have to be really, especially as a consultant, when this is on your shoulders. There's a lot of people I talk to, and they're frustrated because they don't have enough time to spend with their family. And they're like, I'm putting all these hours in. I'm putting in all these hours. And they are putting in a lot of hours. I was putting in a lot of hours, tons of hours. But not every hour I was putting in was actually productive hours. Even though I tried to batch things and segment things or whatever else, even still, not every single hour was productive. And there is a point of diminishing returns. It took me a long time to figure that out, that there's a point of diminishing returns where you put in this much effort and you get this much productivity. But you put in this much effort and you still get this much productivity. You put in this much effort, you can't even see my hands are off the screen so much, but you put in this much effort and it's only so much productivity. And so over time, the more and more effort you put in, you actually aren't getting the results that you desire. And that's where having the focused time to create is key, nice and blocked off, and then having your conductor mode where you can actually have these meetings, and meetings can be back to back. You can have a little bit of spacing between the two, or between some of these meetings, but for the most part, it's like I want all my meetings in these 3 hour time slots on these 2 days, right? And obviously, depending on what you're doing, you may need to have more meetings or less meetings, and how your team's structured and all that, you can determine what that looks like. But in order to be less frustrated and actually be more productive, you have to be thinking in these two modes, creator and conductor. Creator, doing the work. Conductor, I'm conducting the rest of my business, meeting with clients, collaborating, communicating, things of that nature. So I hope this is beneficial to you. Once I got a handle on this, things really changed for me in my business as I was doing consulting work. That I was able to say, I'm only going to respond to emails at this time. Like, I'm not even going to bother looking at emails because it doesn't get my mind off on something else. This is my creator mode. If it's absolutely emergency, you can text me, you can call me. But if it's not an emergency and you do that, there's a repercussion. Depending on who your client is and if there needs to be, some instruction there, you can obviously deal with that however you would need to. But I know for me, when I had the habit of letting clients interrupt me whenever they wanted to, they did. And I had actually put some boundaries in place and some guardrails in place to protect my time. And fortunately, once they understand, they usually are fine with it, right? Because what do they want? They want the end result. They want whatever it is y'all talked about and whatever you promised to deliver them. And if they think that them contacting you is going to hinder that, then they're not going to, right? They'll be willing to back off and let you get the work done. Now, obviously, if you never deliver, that's a whole other conversation. And so in the interim, if this is the core reason why you're not able to deliver is because you're getting pulled in too many directions, you're not able to actually focus on the work to get it done, then these can be some hard conversations to have. But they need to be had, and you need to do it in such a way that you can actually deliver on what you have promised. And the more you do that, the more that the client will, back off, if you will, and give you more time. So 2 modes, creator mode, conductor mode. If you know that, you'll be well on your way to not just being successful as a consultant, but actually getting your life back as a consultant. I hope this is beneficial, and I'll see you in the next video.